Hey guys, what's up? Marisa Inda here with Juggernaut Training Systems, coming at you with a meet recap. So I just recently competed in my 6th World Championship with the IPF. It was in Sun City, South Africa. And man, it's been a while since I've been on the international stage. As you know, 2020, COVID happened, so there wasn't a lot of meets happening. I actually qualified for Worlds in 2019, but in 2020 it didn't happen. And been battling these last couple training blocks with just injuries, dealing with having to pivot with programming. So it's been definitely a ride, I can say that for sure. And it was just a nice cap to my powerlifting career. My first World Championship was in South Africa in 2014, and kind of coming full circle, finishing with my last World Championship, which was also in South Africa just this past month. So kind of just wanted to go over the meet in general, what my expectations were, and kind of putting an exclamation to what I feel has been like a really amazing powerlifting career for myself, and also for Chad as my coach throughout all of these years. Okay, so real quickly, the expectations for this meet were to actually just get into the top 3. So going into this meet, there's some really stiff competition. There's the French team. They're amazing squatters and amazing deadlifters. So I know that to be in the game, I really needed to, have a decent squat, have a great bench, and then bring it home with a deadlift so that I could at least be competitive for that top 3 spot. As I said earlier, I've been dealing with a lot of injuries as far as having sciatic issues, and then going into this training block dealing with scapular issues, which really unfortunately negatively affected my bench about 5 weeks out from the meet, which, as I said, I needed my bench to be competitive. But as we've always done throughout the years, is we pivoted, made sure that we adjusted my expectations, lowered some openers there so that I could at least still kind of be in the running, because as you know, anytime at a meet, it doesn't matter what you open with, it matters what you finish with, and people make mistakes, people miss lifts, so we were kind of really just hoping that that would happen. But as luck would have it, I would do something I've never done in a meet in my life, which is jump the press command on my first bench attempt. So lowered my first bench attempt to 95 kilos. 5 weeks out, I actually couldn't even bench 60 kilos because my scap was hurting so bad. So we pivoted programming, made sure that I was just trying to keep my arm healthy, benching to high blocks. And I was actually very impressed that I was even able to pull through with that 95 kilos. I'm not a quitter. So unfortunately jumped that press command on that first attempt, made it on my second. Stop. Right. Yeah. Right. Jumped 200 kilos on my third, but it just wasn't there on this day. I put forth my best effort. It just wasn't there on this day. Ideally, the plan would have been to hit 97.5, then do 102, and then maybe go for 105, which would have been really good for me to kind of get me caught up coming in from the squats. But it just wasn't there on this day. So one of the things that I did during this training block, and actually the previous 3 training blocks, is I have a motto for the training block. And the motto for this training block was finish strong. And Chad actually even taped finish strong on the squat rack. So as I'm training, I can look down at that. And if I was ever having a moment of doubt, I can look down at that tape and go, okay, finish strong. So it doesn't matter if I had a bad set, if I didn't make my top lift, look down at that tape, and I'm gonna finish it strong. I'm gonna finish this training session strong, I'm gonna finish this block strong, and I'm gonna finish this meet strong. So that really helped me mentally going through this, dealing with all of the stuff that I had to deal with throughout these last 3 training blocks, to have that focus word. So when I started to get frustrated or discouraged, finish strong. I would shout it to myself. Even, I don't even know if they got it on video, but in between my bench, after I missed my first bench and had to go back into my second bench, I said, finish strong, finish strong. And I just kept repeating it in my mind so that I knew, it didn't matter what just happened on that previous attempt. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna finish it strong. So I definitely suggest, if you're dealing with any type of injury, or even if you're not, to have a motto for your block so that it can just reel you back in when you find yourself starting to feel negative about anything that's going on in your training. With squats, it's kind of been a struggle for me. These last 3 training blocks, dealing with sciatic, have it to take a lot of steps back. So my best squat in a competition is 150 kilos in 2017. And since that time, dealing with sciatic, it's been just frustrating to say the least. But we've been able to make some program changes and just, try to just roll with the punches in regards to the squat. But yeah, going into this block, it definitely was hard. I had to, temper my expectations a ton there, knowing that 3 years ago, I was able to squat 150, and then coming into this meet, I'm gonna go for my third attempt and do 140 kilo squat. So definitely frustrating on that regards, but I did have a PR because typically at IPF meets, I red light my opener. I either cut depth, I do something stupid, or what happened in Sweden is I actually made depth, but they gave me red lights anyway. IPF is known for being very strict, but made my opener. Squat. 130 kilos, made my second attempt at 135, and then made my third. Squat. Good. Squat. Come on. Yeah. If I didn't walk away with anything in this meet, I walked away with a PR of being able to say that I actually got all 3 squat attempts at an IPF meet. So that's definitely something that I'm really proud of. And going into deadlifts, so as you know, if you've been following myself or Juggernaut for any amount of time, you know that I pull conventional. I am a conventional diehard. To me, it just looks more badass. But unfortunately, with my back being what it is, just was not there for me to do this go round. So we made the switch to sumo. That allowed me to actually squat with less pain, and it actually just took away a ton of anxiety because my back's been hurting so much that it caused even pulling 60 kilos conventional just made me scared, which I've never been before doing deadlifts. So made the switch to sumo. It's actually been a challenge. I know a lot of people like to say sumo is cheating, but if you've never done it and you've never pushed yourself sumo, I suggest you give it a try before you actually rag on people that pull sumo. I was pretty impressed with myself that I was able to actually get pretty close to what my conventional pull was in training. I was able to pull 175 kilos. Again, unfortunately, with my scap issue happening, it made pulling deadlifting at all a little bit painful. As when I would lock out, it would actually start to aggravate my scap a bit. But I was hoping after I did bench at the meet that it would kind of warm it up enough so that it wouldn't bother me. I went out there to pull 165 kilos on my opener. It went up great, and then we were going to jump to 175, but I was a little bit apprehensive because I haven't been pulling sumo that long that I don't have the confidence that I have in conventional. So I know when it's conventional, when it's a struggle off the floor, I can fight through it, but I haven't learned and haven't had enough time pulling sumo to learn to fight when it gets heavy. So we lowered my second attempt to 172.5 kilos just so that I could, it's a total game at this point, and just kind of wanted to, set myself up for a good third. Went out there to pull on that second, and it just was not there. Again, I just don't have the ability to fight when it gets heavy with sumo because I just haven't done it long enough. So I definitely suggest, if you're going to make a switch, to give yourself enough time to get strong in those positions, and like with anything, believe that you can do it. I think I did lose a little bit of belief going into that third attempt that I could pull it sumo, even though I had done it before.
Too heavy, too heavy.
I actually, before I pulled my third attempt in the back, I was back there with Meg Scanlon, and she was just doing some of her training before she competed, and I actually pulled conventional with what she had on the bar, and she's like, just go out there and pull your third conventional, why not? And for a moment I thought, you know what, forget it, I'm just gonna go out there and do my third attempt conventional. But I stuck with the plan, went to pull sumo on my third attempt, and unfortunately didn't go anywhere. I can say that I'm proud that I didn't go and pull it conventional, because one of the main things I wanted to do is walk away from this last meet and feel good and not have anything hurt. Because like I've said a million times, competing is fun, but it's not fun living everyday life when things are hurting. So all in all, it wasn't the exclamation point that I wanted for my last meet, but I can say it's been just an amazing ride, and I'm really proud of again, the pivots that Chad and I have been able to make throughout the years, dealing with injuries and whatnot, and actually excited that training is going to be fun again as I transition into doing more power building so that I can do maybe some physique and figure shows. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for keeping up with my training throughout all of these years. This is definitely not the end for me. I am still going to be training. I'm still going to be squatting, benching, and deadlifting because those are staples in your lifting regardless of what you're doing. And my daughter, when I returned home from South Africa, gave me flowers, and she gave me a quote by C.S. Lewis that basically said, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can still have new dreams and new goals to pursue. So I'm excited to try something new and pursue new goals and bring you all along for the ride.